All right, so a lot of this is going to be tedious, and I'd like to kind of talk with you guys and see your thoughts on it too, if you agree or disagree with anything. But we'll start with kind of defensive zone positioning things. So here we're playing everything really well, kind of boxing everyone out, keeping them to the outside. This is exactly how I want you to position yourself, Scorcho, defensively. Kind of when it's down low in the corners, you're always watching that bump pass into the high slot. Now, here a couple of things happen. One, you're in really good position again. That's exactly how I want you to position yourself at center, is in between the defenseman at the point and our goalie, just kind of in that shooting lane, trying to make sure the guy can't get a tip in the high slot. The guy on the far side there, he rotated from the front of the net. I'm a little slow picking him up, but like I have my eye on him. If that pass tries to come across, I'm going to be stepping on it anyways. Plus, he's an offhanded shooter, so he's not really a threat. But I think you see that pass too, and then you try and take it away, and this happens. Luckily, the puck carrier, I think, is under enough pressure that he doesn't see the guy backing up towards the net to make that pass. If he did make that pass, I think that guy could just cut straight across the crease and score. Had you stayed exactly where you had been prior, instead of adjusting, we would have perfect posture right now. So yeah, if the guy in the corner here has it on either side, always try and be in between him and the bumper guy in the slot. And then if the D-man has it, just always try and be in between the defenseman and the net. This allows our defenseman to be more aggressive in the corners while still maintaining good defensive posture if he gets beat. The only time I want you to be aggressive is if that guy cuts in the middle trying to shoot, then you attack him. Now, if their winger carries the puck up high and the far side winger goes up high, look for the one-timer, and their center drops to the front, I want you to forget about that centerman that you're recovering and just stay in that passing lane. Now, this is more similar to the clip at the start of the play where the defenseman has the puck and he's looking to make that cross-seam pass to the far side winger for a one-timer. This is ideally how I'd want us to kind of be positioned for the most part, but also one that I kind of want to talk to you guys on how you think we should play it, because if our right winger tries to drop down a bit and cover that passing lane, now that D-to-D one-timer is open. If Scorcho positions himself in that passing lane, now the middle of the ice is open for deflection or just for that D-man to hit their center with a pass, and he'll have a chance to walk in. If the right D tries to push all the way up to that winger is probably going to drop down to the back post, and then that D-man can throw a low shot rebound for him to just tap it in. Or if that defenseman curls back towards the board, passes down low to the short side winger, then that far side winger is now open for a cross crease. So I think it should be the defenseman's responsibility to have that cross seam pass from the D to the circle, but kind of position themselves in this middle ground here where they're not being too aggressive, so that if the shot comes in from the point, you're there to clean up the rebound. You're there to anticipate the pass if you see it, so that you can just take a couple steps forward and intercept the puck. But also, if, say, you're flat-footed or turned around the wrong way or whatever, and that pass does get through, you're in the shooting lane also to block the shot. But if our defenseman instead was, say, they were cycling and we kind of got out of position, whatever, and our defenseman's more in front of our own net in this situation, then I think now it trades off to be the centerman's responsibility to take that cross-seam pass, because our defenseman can now just take a step forward and cover that guy. One thing I want to talk about too is when you are covering for defense, Scorcho, you're poke checking. Because like the puck carrier right now, he's moving full speed. He has to come to you. That's your advantage, right? At no point do you have to like step forward onto him. So I want you to kind of keep back skating with L2 and then wait for that gap to kind of close on its own and then time your poke check. Sometimes I find that you step forward or laterally to try and poke check, and then you get flat-footed.
I'm just gonna lay down here for 4 minutes.
Same sort of thing in this next clip is you move laterally and try and poke, and then you get beat. And I know you know that second poke check is just a bad idea, probably frustration from missing the first one. So you don't really need to talk about that. But just in general, the lateral movements or forward movements before poke checking. So here Voss steps up looking for that one-timer out of the corner, and you go to cover him, which I don't mind at all. That's totally fine. Now, once you see Voss backing up here, I'd like you to step forward back into the mid and kind of take away one of those outlet passes for the other team. Because, like, Voss would have to be a psychopath, which in all fairness he kind of is, but he'd have to be a total psychopath to go from backing up here to suddenly charging into the corner. The one thing, though, if when you did cover for him, if you went all the way over here to the right, then I think Voss would have been like, oh, okay, like I need to act as center now, and he would have been in the middle. But because of your positioning right now, I think Voss is kind of in no man's land, not knowing if you're gonna cover for him or jump up into the play. They just make it a bit easier to read off of each other. I don't know if you're playing this far back because you wanted me to switch with you, even though I had been lefty that whole shift. But I don't want to step on him because I'm expecting you to, because he's carrying through the mid and we have the far side guys covered. If it was this guy who had the puck coming down, I would have stepped on him right away. But I think as of right now, we're thinking, all right, Voss has right D, I have left D, Scortia's going to pressure mid, and I think Voss would have played it a lot differently had you been pressuring the guy coming through the middle. So same sort of thing here. You were covering for Voss, which was good. As soon as they start breaking out, Voss turns around and he starts coming back. I'd like you again to kind of step up as soon as you see Voss coming back, as long as there's nobody behind Voss, obviously. Because even if you're toward the hash marks right now, it would still be like a 3-on-3. We'd have great defensive posture. I end up stepping on the guy who gets the pass here because I'm now treating you like lefty more than I am righty. Again, if you had went all the way off to the right here, I think Voss would have picked up, okay, I'm farther ahead. Scorchio's all the way off to the right. I'm going to like move into the middle of the ice and kind of take that guy away. But because of your positioning in the mid here, Voss doesn't want to come over and also cover the guy in mid, if that makes sense, and leave that far side guy all the way wide open. So if you are going to cover for D, like make sure you're emphatically covering for D and taking that side of the ice so that Voss can now play center. Don't like play center at defense, if that makes sense. So here's another thing I noticed quite a bit of, and I think it drives Tim crazy, but he's too nice to say anything. When I'm in the corner looking to make a centering pass, I actually really like your position here. You have the inside position on the defenseman, making yourself available so I could hit you here for a pass. You could take a short side shot or try and stuff one low, far side, maybe get a rebound for Tim. But you see that crossing pass that Tim also sees, and you try and get into that lane, and you kind of draw the defenseman in there with you. Had you taken maybe a few steps back in the high slot, then I'd have you as an option, and then also Tim as a far side option, especially if that defenseman stayed with you. Now, had Tim moved in the corner here looking for me to cycle to him, then I wouldn't mind you cutting across, looking for that cross crease pass. But I notice we kind of have two guys wanting to receive the same pass. And if that's the case, one of them needs to move. Considering Tim's kind of in wide open space over there, I think you need to concede that one-timer to him. So I actually even wouldn't mind you going behind the net here. And then if I bumped it to you, you can hit Tim as he's driving the net for a good shot. You could back up higher in the high slot, try and pull a pick. Take that defenseman with you, open up that pass to Tim, or even just stay where you are. Even if I try and hit Tim and like you're in the way, quote unquote, you'll still get the puck because you have the inside track, and then you're still not in a bad position to shoot at all. But by moving, you kind of take away all those options. So just a couple examples here. Tim has the puck on the left boards. I'm at center. I would prefer Bryce be the one to kind of circle behind the net here and look for a cycle, considering there's no seam pass to him. But I noticed him kind of lingering around the front, so I know Tim's going to get pressured eventually, and he's going to need options, so I move into the corner for him. So as Bryce picks up the puck here, I don't drive to the net because I know as soon as I start moving up and to the right, the pass is going to want to lead to where I'm moving to. So I know it's probably going to hit the side of the net. Goalie's probably going to get a stick on it or whatever. So I try and offer short side support and just kind of back up into an area up high on the same side as Bryce. Now, the pass Bryce gives me here has no business getting to me, but because I position myself kind of up high in open ice with a gap on the defenseman, it gives me time to escape the pressure when I pick up the puck. And then I send a force pass of all force passes to Tim when I should have hit Swiss. But it's just a good example of kind of trying to back up into open ice, make yourself available for passes, rather than just going to high danger areas. So same sort of thing here. When I pick up this loose puck and start moving to my left, Tim doesn't drive the net, hoping that'll kind of cut out front and find him with a cross pass. He sees that he's in open ice already. He doesn't have to move. I don't have anything to him direct, but he ends up actually shifting a bit more left here. Again, that short side support up high. And then that draws a bunch of defenders off to the left, thinking that I'm going to try and find him up high. And then when I cycle to Bryce, Tim just moves back to the short side support up high on the other side. And because they were all moving left trying to cover him in the first place, they don't read his switch, and he's wide open and just blasts it home. So as soon as you enter my screen here, I see you trailing the play. I go perfect, Scorcher's trailing. I'm going to try and move to my left here. If you post up near that pressure sign, then I can hit him with that pass. Bada bing, bada boom. But you'll notice when the play kind of continues that there's probably a split second I could hit you, but I don't want the pass to lead you because you're still moving forward. So I'm kind of waiting for you to post up. But then it's also on me because I don't notice that pass ends up being wide open to Voss anyways, because I'm so focused on what you're doing. So I need to be better at kind of adjusting instead of just looking for the play that I want to make. And if you're just kind of in open ice, sometimes it's best to just be like, hey, less is more. I don't have to move. I can just post up here because I'm already open.
That was the infinite life glitch for Contra because the game was the most impossible.
Now here I know it's none of us, but I thought it was a good example of kind of the same thing. When I curl to my forehand here, I'm hoping Swiss will kind of notice the open ice as he's trailing, and I want to hit him so that he can cross it over to Tim here, as I have nothing direct to either of them right now. Again, I should probably adjust and just drive the puck down the right wall and try and get it to the net. But again, just the more options, the better, I think.
Whole fucking game, like.
If you trail that a little bit, Swiss, up high. Another little example here. I think Voss sees you trailing the play, and he probably just could hit you right now, but in real time it did look a little sketch. So I think he goes, all right, I want to create a bit of separation, then I'll bump it back to Scorcho, and he can go to Tim. But you end up kind of following the play up here, which handcuffs it. Because again, it's like if you move into that space, it's like, yeah, the pass could get to you. But if it could get to you, then it could also get to Tim. So sometimes just stopping and being like, all right, I am now a new option, because again, more options the better, is the best play to make. Because you got to remember too, like if you're moving forward, sometimes the pass is going to lead you like a foot, 2 feet. So you're going to want to like really give yourself a gap in between you and the defenders.
Play, you guys.
So before you say, well, you always tell me to keep going, and now you're telling me to stop or trail, even though you've probably already said it by this point, this is a good example of when I want you to keep going. Is if we are able to gain the line, but we're forced wide and kind of have to come to a complete stop, that's when I want you to keep going. If we're able to gain the line, but have to come to a stop, that's when I want you to keep going. If the wingers are able to skate up the boards with it unimpeded, that's when I want you to trail high. Unfortunately, on this play, I think the pass locks onto me. But if Tim was able to hit you with this pass, it would have been a great chance.
Oh my god, fucking.
So I think I kind of mess everybody up here by shifting left to right when you're both moving to the right to offer me support. But when I do, Tim's the farthest guy back. I think he's looking, because you're ahead of him, he's looking for you to cut left to kind of join me on that rush, and he's going to be the one to trail the play. But when you kind of stay mid and then keep moving up, he shifts off to the left now, but he was farthest guy back, so he can't really get himself in a high danger area. And then now we're again in the same kind of scenario of like a straight line to 2 players for a pass, instead of having 2 different options, 2 different angles. Personally, I think in that scenario, like you get a little too focused on positioning, being like center, I'm center, so I can't switch. But I think if you're ahead of Tim and you're both kind of in mid ice, you can shift off to the left because Tim's behind you. You can shift out to the left, kind of join me on that rush as that cross option. They'll probably take it away, but if they take it away, then Tim can shift into that mid and be that option for that back pass. But when you just drive mid with me instead of wide left with me, then Tim doesn't want to be also mid trailing the play, so he starts moving left, and then our positioning gets all kind of whack. And why I like having someone trailing the play, especially on that rush, because if they clean up a loose puck like they do on this play, then they're back the other way with numbers, because all 3 of us were moving up when the turnover happens. So having that guy trailing would at least have an extra body back, and then we can keep our posture a little bit better. But we just need to figure out who's gonna trail the rush. Again, if both guys are sort of in the same area, I think the farthest guy back should trail, and the guy closest to the puck carrier should cut out wide. So this will end up being another one of those examples of that D-man cross-seam pass. But this time our right D is directly in front of the net, kind of taking away that centerman. And this is where I think it shifts to Scorcho. You need to be watching that cross-seam pass up high. Tim's positioning here is also a little wonky, but hey, is what it is. I think both me and Tyler end up seeing this pass and kind of scramble to try and get in the lane. Scorcho, I think you're focused on shot, so you end up trying to L1 to block it. But when I shift down to try and cover that pass because it's open, he crosses over to that far side defenseman for the one-timer and game-winning goal.
For a long time, because he kept on doing that in Detroit, like they were never ahead. And so
So another kind of one of those scenarios where when this guy gets the puck, I see that cross seam pass. I kind of scramble to try and take it away. Scorcho follows the puck carrier off to the left boards, and I think he's completely fine to be aggressive here. I think Tyler knows that he should be branching off to take that guy on the dot. But the frustrating part about this clip is that this puck carrier never even sees that cross seam pass. He takes a really weird route, so it ends up not even being dangerous at all. So I don't know what you guys think, because there are times where I do take away that pass, where I see it, I scramble, and then I end up taking it away. But then there's also times like this where I scramble to take it away, and then I leave my guy, and my guy scores. Should I just stay on my guy, and if it's not my guy to go cover, even if it's open, or if it's like a super high dangerous spot like that, should I be taking it away if I see
So
that I
what's the
can?
thought we're fourth quarter? Oh, come on, we're on.
Another example here, I get completely cooked at the line by this guy, and then Scorcho steps up on him, which ends up leaving the cross seam pass open for the one-timer. So again, Scorcho, kind of the only time I want you to be aggressive on people is when the winger's coming out of the corner and trying to drive mid for a shot. Otherwise, I think trying to keep mid, keep guys in the slot covered. If there is nobody in the slot, then you're watching seam passes. So here what we're gonna not want to do is make whatever pass that is.
Fuck.
Just kidding, that's not why
There's
this
him.
clip is here. When this guy picks it up in the corner, that's Gompy. Scorcho, I think you're a little late seeing the lane to this guy up in the bumper slot, and then you do try and adjust as the puck moves up the left wall, but when you adjust, you push up a little too far. I think just being just inside the face-off dot here would be good positioning, just to be in the passing lane, and then when this guy gets the puck and tries to curl in the middle, had you stayed right in that spot, he wouldn't have been able to cut in and get that shot off. Just little things. So in these, I don't know if it's because you don't think you can make a button pass quick enough, or if you're just not planning your next step ahead before you receive the puck. But there are quite a few times where we're moving full speed through the neutral zone, and it comes to you where we have to kind of slow down, or we end up going offside. You just got to kind of be able to make those bump passes a lot faster when we have speed through the neutral zone. So there are times, it's infrequent, where I think you get a little too focused on the guy cutting through mid-Voss. Scorcho's already here on this one, and even if that guy blew by Scorcho, our lefty's in fine position to apply pressure. So just kind of playing the number advantages, forcing them out wide when we can.
The pass, though, was also great.
So when the faceoffs went back to you, Tyler, there's a couple things I'd like to see you mix into your game. Not all the time, just kind of mix it into your bag. One, I'd like to see you L2 back skate when it's won back to you. Just a couple feet. I think it'll make that short side pass to Tim a bit easier. And it kind of will give you time to assess your options and let all of us get our feet moving. And then two, I'd like to see you cross it over to your D partner a bit more frequently. Again, just mixing that in there. And even looking up toward the right wing if it's more open. So a couple things on this clip, and I actually think this is one of our bigger issues, is we often prioritize the guy who is farthest ahead on the breakout rather than the side that has the most space. Even if you can get it to both wingers, I think you should always kind of be assessing what they're walking into and always trying to hit the one that has the most space to work with. So if there's a couple other guys stacked on one side, you want to hit the far side guy that has a bit more space. Luckily, we make a good play here. As we move up the ice, I am looking to make this cross pass to Tim. Again, I'd like you to kind of stop right in this open ice, because I end up trying to make this pass as you're gliding, and it leads you, and then ends up getting picked. But if you just stop right there, then it doesn't have to lead you at all. It can be a direct pass. It'll be wide open.
Oh, good play.
I'd like to show an example of breaking up the side of space. Bryce kind of face plants in the board over there for some reason, which doesn't make Tim's life any easier. But Tim can see here that there's 3 guys on their side just kind of waiting for that pass to go to Bryce so that they can all converge on him as he's trying to cross the line. So he crosses it over to the opposite side that has more space to work with. I get it up to Matt. Boom. I don't know if this is a misclick score show, but when you get the puck here, instead of going straight up to Tim, go to Turtle first, and then both me and Tim have to start gliding. I lose the step I have on the guy on the right as I start gliding. By the time Tim gets it here, he crosses it over to me, but they're able to shut it down pretty easily. And it's just a quick example of how half a second can make a big difference on the breakout if we're taking too long to make those outlets.
Yeah, good play.
Back. Oh.
Get in there. Oh, nice play, boss. Great play. Nice play. You got that? Yeah.
Yep. Shit. I was hoping you'd stay mid. Fuck.
Good job. There it is.
Nice.
Noise.
Look at this, James. Yeah, there it is. I mean, look at that net front presence, just the screen and the goaltender battling to find the puck. That's exactly what you need in the paint on a power play, and as a result, they score.
And that plays offside. We got a face-off coming up.